The photograph was once a kind of alchemy, a tangible residue of light captured on films, bound to time and place. But with the advent of digital photography, that aura evaporated like smoke. Now, an image can be cloned, spliced, or deep-faked without lifting a finger. What remains is not authenticity, but affectation scratches added in post, grains simulated through filters, edges bleached for vintage appeal. We don't look at these images to remember anything. We look for the illusion of having remembered something. We are drowning in images that claim to remember before anyone ever did. This is the paradox. As the world flattens into screens and files, we become obsessed with simulating depth, faded edges. Handwritten notes, even deliberate camera shake. It's not about beauty, it's about trust. We don't just want images anymore. We need them to feel like memory. But if they never actually were, what are we really trusting?
The discovery of electronic music marks a paradigm shift in sound creation, blending art with technology.
Yes. In a time when digital perfection is abundant, we crave the signs of wear, the crack in a voice memo, the smudge on a photo. It's not about looking old, but feeling real. We simulate decay because it whispers authenticity into a sterile world. But these imitations are carefully engineered, not accidental byproducts. They're designed to mask artificial origins and sell us intimacy through illusion. These signs of use are no longer organic. They're algorithmic embellishments that signal, I am human made, can then be shown. Here we see a clean wave pattern. Yet in modern music production, this purity is spoofed with simulated noise. The pristine digital tone is rejected not for its lack of quality, but for its lack of soul. Engineers add grain and distortion to mimic the warmth of analog tape or the crackle of vinyl. These effects are not just aesthetic. They signal trust through familiarity. They trick us into believing we're listening to something lived in, touched by human hands. But what they're really saying, the AI generated movie Dreams of Violets cost just $2,000 to produce, and yet it looks like a grainy memory from the past. Its texture is carefully curated, faded colors, imperfect framing. To mimic the analog decay we associate with authenticity. But this film was never touched by human hands. Its every frame simulated, its every flicker designed. The aesthetics of imperfection now serve as branding. When you watch it, you aren't seeing history. You're witnessing a counterfeit of memory. And Neil Postman warned that technopoly doesn't just replace old tools. It redefines what those words mean in the first place. Memory, truth. Even time itself are reshaped by digital systems to fit algorithmic needs. We no longer remember organically, we offload, replicate, and reconstruct through filters designed not for accuracy, but for engagement. In a world where data is infinite, forgetting becomes a feature, not a flaw. The human mind is no longer the keeper of memory. It's an appendage to corporate infrastructure. Just this week, an AI generated short film titled Dreams of Violets was made for $2,000 in 2 months. No crew, no set. It's a beautiful, haunting work that feels deeply human, grainy textures, soft lighting, emotional arcs. But it didn't come from lived experience. It came from code trained on decades of cinematic nostalgia. This is the new memory industry at work, selling not authenticity, but simulation, crafting consensus through emotional mimicry. The line between real and artificial blurs. We are now in the strange position where we cannot distinguish between a memory and its imitations, because both may be algorithmically generated. In technopolies, memory becomes a commodity, not for preservation, but for persuasion. Handwritten notes, film grains, even emotional depth are no longer marks of authenticity, but tools to make data feel human. When trust is manufactured through aesthetic cues, we lose our ability to tell what's real and what's just good at pretending.
This electronic oscillation can then be shown. It forms a wave pattern.
We are not in a post-truth era. We are in an anti-real one, where the line between artifact and experience is collapsed by design. What does it mean? When your most cherished memories, your first date, your grandfather's last letter, are just pixels we can edit, duplicate, or discard. In this new world, memory isn't a relic. It's software with version control. We no longer remember to preserve the past, but rather simulate depth in order to believe we are not lost. The real is no longer sacred because it's negotiable. Barthers once said that photography resists abstraction. But now, it's the last bastion of realism itself, being abstracted away into simulation. A photo is no longer a window to the past. It's just another layer in a deepfake stack. Another illusion nested inside an illusion. And if you can't trust your eyes, then what anchors your mind? The photograph was once a promise. This is how it was. Now it's only this could have been. Our obsession with authenticity isn't about truth anymore. It's about trying to root ourselves in a world where even memory has become negotiable, when everything is manufactured nostalgia, when the past becomes product. Then sincerity itself is just another aesthetic choice. This is why we laugh at AI replacing comedians like Conan O'Brien does, because it's both absurd and inevitable. The joke is on us.